Welcome to the Allison Knows podcast. Today we're going to try something a little bit different.
Oh,
Yeah, we're going to do a deep dive
okay.
into the life and career of a very well-known businessman and politician.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're talking about Donald Trump.
Okay.
And for this, we're going to be using Michael D'Antonio's biography,
Yeah,
The Truth About Trump, as our guide.
sounds good.
Yeah. So we're going to uncover some really fascinating details about his upbringing, his business ventures, and ultimately his rise to fame.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be a story full of twists and
It
turns.
really is.
Yeah.
And I think what makes it so compelling is that it's a story about ambition, about the relentless pursuit of success, and about the power of image and self-belief.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
So let's start at the beginning. Trump's childhood in Queens. His father, Fred Trump, was already a successful real estate developer.
Right.
What was that environment like for young Donald?
Well, Fred Trump, he built a real estate empire, focusing on middle-class housing in Brooklyn and Queens.
Okay.
And he wasn't afraid to play the political game.
Really?
Yeah, cultivating relationships with politicians and leveraging connections to secure favorable deals and government subsidies.
Wow. So Donald grew up seeing firsthand how to navigate the world of power and influence.
Absolutely. And D'Antonio suggests that Fred's approach to business, his focus on deal making and winning at all costs, really had a profound impact on Donald's own worldview.
So it wasn't just about the money.
Right.
It was about the game,
Yeah.
the competition, the pursuit of victory.
Exactly. And it's worth noting that this was during a time of tremendous economic growth in America.
Mhm.
The post-World War II era was marked by a sense of optimism and a belief that anything was possible.
Right. So there was this cultural backdrop of ambition and striving for success.
Right. And D'Antonio highlights the influence of figures like Norman Vincent Peale,
Okay.
who was a prominent minister who preached the power of positive thinking. And Peale's message of self-belief and the ability to achieve anything you set your mind to really resonated deeply with both Fred and Donald Trump.
Okay, so we've got this blend of family influence,
Right.
a culture of ambition, and a philosophy of positive thinking, all shaping Donald's early years.
Precisely. And then you add in another layer, Donald's time at the New York Military Academy.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
This was a very structured,
Very much so.
disciplined environment.
It was a hierarchical system with a strong emphasis on competition, discipline, and winning.
So I wonder how that experience shaped his leadership style.
Well, according to D'Antonio, it instilled in Donald a sense of confidence.
Okay.
A belief in his own ability to command and lead.
Right.
But it also fostered a tendency towards aggression and a zero-sum mentality.
So he learned to see the world in terms of winners and losers.
Exactly. And that's a theme that runs throughout his life and career.
Let's move on to his entry into the real estate world. He followed in his father's footsteps, but did he always want to?
D'Antonio suggests that while Donald admired his father's success,
Mm-hmm.
he also wanted to make his own mark.
Right.
He wasn't content to simply stay in Queens and manage the family business.
He wanted to go bigger, bolder.
Exactly. And that's what led him to Manhattan.
Okay.
He saw an opportunity to make a name for himself in the most competitive real estate market in the world.
His first major project was Trump Village in Brooklyn.
Yes,
Um,
a massive apartment complex that provided affordable housing.
interesting.
It was a successful project,
Mhm.
but it also generated some controversy.
What kind of controversy?
Well, there were accusations that Fred Trump had used his political connections to secure favorable tax breaks and government subsidies for the project.
Oh, so.
Yeah, and some people question whether these benefits were obtained fairly and whether they truly served the public interest.
So even in his early ventures, we see this pattern of pushing boundaries and courting controversy.
Yes, and this would become a hallmark of Trump's career.
Now let's talk about something that really sets Trump apart.
Yeah,
His mastery of media and branding.
right.
He understood the power of image and publicity long before it became commonplace.
Absolutely. Trump was a master at generating headlines. He
Mhm.
cultivated relationships with reporters, knew how to spin a story, and wasn't afraid to make bold pronouncements.
He even created a fictional publicist named John Barron to plant stories about his successes and exaggerate his wealth.
It's incredible. He understood the importance of shaping the narrative.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Join Allison Knows on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Now let's dive into some specific examples of how Trump used the media to build his brand and boost his image.
Okay.
I think one of the early examples is the Grand Hyatt Hotel.
Oh, yeah?
Trump managed to secure the rights to develop this dilapidated Commodore Hotel next to Grand Central Station,
Right.
turning it into a glittering symbol of his ambition and his ability to revitalize a struggling property.
It was a huge gamble, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
But Trump used his media savvy to turn it into a win.
Okay.
He invited reporters to tour the construction site, gave interviews boasting about the project's grandeur, and even got himself on the cover of New York Magazine.
Wow.
It's like he was staging a performance, a spectacle for the public to consume.
Exactly. And it worked brilliantly.
Right.
The Grand Hyatt became a symbol of Trump's success,
Mm.
and it propelled him further into the spotlight.
It's fascinating to see how he was already using tactics that would later become central to his political campaigns.
It's all connected. The showmanship, the bold pronouncements, the understanding of how to capture the media's attention. It's all there in those early years.
So he was building a brand, an image, long before he entered the political arena.
Yes, and that brand was built on ambition, success, and a willingness to challenge conventional norms.
It's a story that's full of complexities and contradictions.
Yeah.
And we're just getting started.
I can't wait to hear more. You know, his early career wasn't without its bumps, though.
Oh.
Yeah, there were some high-profile setbacks, like the Trump Taj Mahal Casino in Atlantic City.
Right? That was a massive project. Billed as the eighth wonder of the world.
It was, but it was also plagued by financial problems from the start, ultimately leading to bankruptcy.
This was a major blow to Trump's image, wasn't it?
It was, but what's interesting is that he managed to bounce back,
Okay.
spinning the story to portray himself as a victim of circumstance rather than a failed businessman.
He never shied away from a challenge.
Nope.
It seems like setbacks just fueled his determination to prove his doubters wrong.
Absolutely. And this resilience, this ability to weather storms and emerge seemingly unscathed would become a key part of his persona.
It's almost like he thrived on the drama,
Yeah.
the ups and downs of the business world.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
He seemed to enjoy the spotlight, the attention, even when it wasn't always positive.
Let's shift gears a bit and talk about Trump's personal life.
Okay.
His relationships, especially his marriages, were often in the tabloids.
Yes, his personal life was always intertwined with his public persona. His first marriage to Ivana Trump was a high-profile affair, a symbol of wealth, glamour, and success.
They seemed like the quintessential power couple of the 80s.
They did, but behind the facade of the perfect marriage, there were cracks.
Right. Their divorce in the early 90s was very public and messy.
It was. And it provided a glimpse into the complexities of Trump's personality.
Yeah.
Ivana, in her memoir, described him as charming and ambitious, but also as someone who could be demanding and controlling.
It seems like he had a very transactional approach to relationships, both personal and professional.
That's an interesting observation.
Yeah.
D'Antonio certainly suggests that Trump viewed the world through a lens of deal-making, of trying to come out on top in every interaction.
Now let's talk about Trump's political aspirations.
Okay.
He flirted with the idea of running for office for years, even exploring a presidential bid with the Reform Party in 1999.
Right. The Reform Party was seen as an outsider party, a vehicle for those disillusioned with the political establishment.
It seems like a natural fit for Trump's anti-establishment persona.
It does. And what's interesting is that during his brief flirtation with the Reform Party, Trump actually expressed some progressive views on issues like healthcare and taxation.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising given his later political positions.
It is, but it shows that he was willing to adapt his message to appeal to different audiences. He
Well.
was, above all else, a pragmatist.
So even in those early days, we see this tendency to shift positions and tailor his message to what he thinks people want to hear.
Exactly. And this ability to connect with different audiences, to tap into their hopes and fears, would become a key factor in his eventual political success.
Now let's fast forward to the mid-2000s.
Okay.
Trump's celebrity reaches new heights with the success of The Apprentice.
The Apprentice was a cultural phenomenon.
Right.
Millions of people tuned in each week to watch Trump fire contestants with his signature phrase, "You're fired."
It's true. The show solidified his image as a successful businessman,
It did.
a shrewd decision-maker, a lead.
It did. And it also gave him a national platform, a way to connect with a much broader audience than he had ever reached before.
Do you think The Apprentice played a role in paving the way for his political career?
Absolutely. It gave him name recognition,
Right.
boosted his image, and
Yeah.
allowed him to cultivate a persona that would resonate with voters years later.
It's fascinating to see how all these seemingly disparate pieces of his life,
Yeah.
the business ventures, the media savvy, the reality TV stardom,
Right.
all come together to shape his political trajectory.
It's like each experience, each setback was building towards something bigger.
Okay, everyone, before we move on, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Please do.
Join Allison Knows on YouTube.
Yeah.
Let's continue exploring the evolution of Trump's political ambitions.
Okay.
In the late 2000s and early 2010s, he became increasingly vocal about his political views.
This was a pivotal period. He started to embrace more conservative positions, aligning himself with the Tea Party movement and tapping into a growing wave of populism and anti-establishment sentiment.
He also became a vocal critic of President Barack Obama, questioning his birthplace and legitimacy as president.
Right. His promotion of the birther conspiracy theory was highly controversial.
It was.
But it also garnered him a lot of attention and helped to solidify his image as an outsider.
Right.
A rebel willing to challenge the status quo.
It was a calculated move, wasn't it?
It's hard to say for sure what his motivations were. Some argue that he genuinely believed conspiracy theory, while others believe it was a cynical ploy to gain political traction.
Either way, it was effective in raising his profile and tapping into a deep vein of resentment among certain segments of the population.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that this was also the rise of social media.
Right.
Trump was an early adopter of Twitter, and he quickly mastered the art of using it to bypass traditional media outlets and connect directly with his followers.
He would tweet out provocative statements, attack his critics, and spread misinformation, all in 140 characters or less.
His use of Twitter was revolutionary.
Yeah.
He understood how to use it to control the narrative,
Right.
to set the agenda, and to bypass fact-checking and scrutiny.
It was a game changer in the world of politics.
It was, and it paved the way for his eventual presidential campaign.
By 2015, when he announced his candidacy, he had already cultivated an image,
Yeah.
a message, and a base of supporters who were eager for change and saw him as their champion.
He tapped into a deep well of anger and frustration
Right.
among voters who felt ignored by the political establishment. He promised to shake things up, to drain the swamp, to make America great again.
And against all odds, he won.
He did.
His victory was a shock to many, but in retrospect, it seems almost inevitable, given the trajectory of his life and career.
It's a story that continues to fascinate and provoke debate.
And that's where we'll leave it for today. But we'll be back to explore the Trump presidency and its lasting impact in the final part of our deep dive.
Looking forward to it.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Allison Knows podcast. We're continuing our deep dive into the life and career of Donald Trump, drawing insights from Michael D'Antonio's The Truth About Trump.
In the previous segments, we traced Trump's journey from his childhood in Queens through his business ventures and into the world of reality television.
Right.
We saw how those experiences shaped his persona and ultimately propelled him onto the political stage.
Now let's delve into the most consequential chapter of his life, his presidency.
Trump's 2016 victory sent shockwaves through the political establishment.
Right.
Here's a man with no prior political experience, a celebrity businessman known for his brash style and unconventional approach, becoming the most powerful person in the world.
His presidency was marked by constant controversy, from his policies to his personal conduct.
It really was.
He challenged norms, defied expectations, and provoked strong reactions both domestically and internationally.
Yeah. One of the most striking aspects of his presidency was his relentless use of social media,
Right.
particularly Twitter. He continued to bypass traditional media outlets, using Twitter to communicate directly with his supporters, announce policy decisions, and attack his opponent.
His tweets often generated headlines, sparked outrage, and set the agenda for the national conversation.
They did.
It is a completely new way of engaging with the public, and it had a profound impact on the political landscape.
His use of social media was both innovative and divisive.
Right.
It allowed him to circumvent the filters of traditional media and control his own narrative, but it also contributed to the spread of misinformation and the polarization of public discourse.
It's undeniable that Trump's presidency was a turning point in American history.
I agree.
It exposed deep divisions within society, amplified existing political tensions, and raised questions about the future of democracy in a digital age.
One of the key themes that emerges from D'Antonio's biography is the importance of understanding Trump's psychological makeup. His need for attention, his craving for adulation, his relentless pursuit of victory.
Right.
These traits played a significant role in shaping his actions as president.
D'Antonio also highlights the role of Trump's family,
Yes.
particularly his children in his presidency.
Huh?
They served as close advisors, surrogates on the campaign trail, and key players in his administration.
Trump's presidency was a family affair in many ways.
Yes, it was.
And it's clear that his family dynamics, both the positive and the negative aspects, had a direct impact on his decision-making and his interactions with the world.
Looking back, it's clear that Trump's presidency was a period of intense disruption and transformation.
I agree.
It challenged long-held assumptions about the nature of leadership, the role of media, and the functioning of democratic institutions.
It also highlighted the fragility of truth and facts in an era of information overload,
Yes.
and the ease with which misinformation can spread and take root.
Trump's presidency left an indelible mark on the American psyche. It sparked passionate debates about identity, belonging, and the values that define the nation.
It also raised questions about the role of power, the limits of executive authority, and the importance of checks and balances in a democracy.
So what are the key takeaways from our deep dive into the life and career of Donald Trump?
Well, I think it's a story about ambition, about the relentless pursuit of success, and about the power of image and self-belief. It's also a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ego, the corrosive effects of misinformation, and the fragility of democratic norms.
It's a story that continues to unfold, and its full impact on American history is yet to be fully understood. But by examining Trump's life and career, we can gain insights into the forces that shaped our current political landscape and the challenges we face as a nation.
I couldn't agree more.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Join Allison Knows on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely.
As we wrap up our deep dive, I want to emphasize that this is just one perspective on a complex and multifaceted figure. I encourage you to explore other sources, consider different viewpoints, and form your own conclusions about Donald Trump's legacy.
That's a crucial point. It's important to engage with multiple perspectives to critically evaluate information and to avoid falling into the trap of echo chambers and confirmation bias.
Thank you for listening to the Allison Knows podcast. Follow Allison on @social on Blue Sky.